pay attention to building the attraction, right? And the attraction comes in different levels, in different ways. You got to find the equal balance of who you are and stop focusing on what's fearful, like you're not good enough or she's not ready for a relationship. If she's not ready and you feel as though you're not good enough, she wouldn't be dating you. Now, I'm not saying to be cocky and arrogant, but be confident. Cocky and arrogant doesn't come with compassion. Confidence comes with compassion and a willingness to observe others and to also a willingness to observe yourself. Hi everyone, I am Apollonia Ponti. I am your dating and relationship coach, founder of ApolloniaPonti.com, and I'm your coach for you men to build your attraction, authentic attraction, master your confidence, and really cultivate that healthy relationship with yourself and a woman in your life. And let's get started. Now, the biggest thing in how to make her want you more and more and things to say is at the end of this video, I'm going to give you one line that is a really good line that is very beneficial for you men to know and to use on a woman that you really like. But the main point here, and there's a couple main points I'm going to be alluding to in this video, is in order for you to make her want you more and more, you have to understand you want to fuel her fire without making her know that you want her, right? So how do you do this? Well, this is how you do it. You don't openly tell her that you want her. You don't openly tell her all the time that you like her, but you basically, you can do it in a third person type of role, or you can also influence it by telling her that she wants you, and just saying things that are kind of swept under the rug, right? So I see the way that you're looking at me. You know, that's an example. Or you can say, oh, wouldn't you like to know? When she asks you if you're dating, you know, if you're seeing other people or anything like that, and it's the beginning of the time period, and you just say, oh, wouldn't you like to know? This boosts attraction, right? But then fill it from there. Wouldn't you like to know? Pause, and then say to her, I've only got my eye on one thing. I don't know if she's standing in front of me or behind me, but it's your guess. So now, do you see what I mean? You aren't directly telling her that you want her. You are fueling her fire. You are building mystery. You are building curiosity. And this is so important when it comes to just escalating with a woman sexually, because this is how you get her to want you more and more. You can be this respectful guy and she's going to say, great, he's this great guy and he's like, I want him, he's good on paper, but how do you make her feel? That's how a woman understands that she recognizes that she likes this guy. Women don't just instantaneously look at a guy and say, I like him. Men are completely different. They can look at a woman, have a conversation and be like, I like her. But with women, we need convincing. Okay. And the reason being is because women operate totally different than men do. We are more emotionally affected by how a man makes us feel. And that's what makes our decision to know if we like this guy. So the first 5 minutes of you talking to her doesn't mean that she likes you. And you have to showcase it over time, either first date, second date, third date, but you also want to escalate in the process of being this respectable man that you already come off naturally as. So alluding to the next tip that I want to give you on this video on how to make her want you more and more is pace yourself. And I saw this quote somewhere, I can't remember, and I was talking to my client about it the other day, and he like had a light bulb go off in his head when I said this. But it was about pacing yourself. And I want you to think about this in this way. If you downloaded my 7 Common Mistake ebook that men make when attracting a woman, I always talk about the metaphor that I say, don't dive head first in a 3-foot pool. Instead, you gotta swim your way up to dive your way into a 9-foot pool. You know what I mean? But in this particular situation, I love this metaphor, and I don't know where I saw this quote, but pacing yourself with this woman. What I want you to do is think of a crock pot, not a microwave, right? You got to build the anticipation. In the crock pot, like you're cooking and it takes hours and it takes time. The season has to fulfill whatever meat that you're cooking in that crock pot, let's just say. And it takes hours and it takes time because you are investing in that time. In a microwave, it's quick, it's instant. And a lot of us are trying to get that microwave effect really and not pay attention to building the attraction, right? And the attraction comes in different levels, in different ways. And the only time that it comes in different levels, in different ways, if you do it correctly, is when you pace yourself, which alludes to the next tip that I want to give you on how to make her want you more and more. Is go after what you want and don't shelter your ego. So what I mean by this is a lot of times we get comfortable in saying, I'm not going to do that because she's just not going to like it, or I'm not going to do that because it makes me feel uncomfortable, or you give her excuse and you say, you know, she's too beautiful, so she's not going to be attracted to me, because this is easier for you, because this is what makes you feel safe. This is how you protect your ego, because she's beautiful, more beautiful than you, and you're not that handsome, or you don't think that you're that handsome, that she's not going to want you. That's not the case. Women are not attracted to a man just because he's this good-looking guy. Women are attracted to a man that makes them feel great, that brings a great presence, that basically has, I don't like to say this, but has game. And it's not about a game that you play with her emotions. No, he has authentic game, meaning that he knows himself, and he is not passive, he is not shy, and he goes after and gets what he wants. I can guarantee you, men, if you have this mindset and that mentality in your head, you will score women like crazy, because this is what stands out from the bunch of them. There's so many men out there that are hiding behind their ego, and I'm not bashing you guys for doing this, because I know I work with you guys, because I know the fact of the reasons of why this happens, and I talk about this a lot in my videos. But what I'm saying here is I'm not bashing you. What I want you to understand is that you have it in you. I want this to be brought out in you. I want you to operate from a place of security, from a place of groundness, from a place of confidence, so you don't operate off of the ego, because the ego sometimes holds you back as well. And we make up excuses for, okay, I'm too short, I'm not going to like her, she's not gonna like me. No, I've dated short men before. That's not even the case. It's about how you show up, and I know you have it in you. So this is why I do these videos, because hiding behind your ego and sheltering yourself and not going after what you want is ultimately just going to make you either more curious as to why, or it's going to have a counter effect and really make you sad about you not showing up for you, and that's not what I want. So this is the last tip I want to say in this video, is pay attention to others and not 100% her, right? So let's just say that you're meeting with her, up with her with a group of friends. A lot of times we just focus on that one woman that we like, right? But you also want to show her that you can focus on other people, and that you are in demand with other people. Not meaning all these girls want you, but you get them to like you, right? Let's just say she's with a group of friends. Talk to her friends too, because guess who she's probably going home with? If things go well, maybe she'll go home with you. But anyways, I'm going off track here, but let's just say that she's going home with these women, right? And they're going somewhere else afterwards, or the next day, she's the one that's talking to them about the night and things like that. And this is where these girls can help you, men, okay? Think about this. That guy last night that was talking to us, he was really nice. Did you give him your number? I thought I saw you give him his number. Good word in, right? Oh, we were talking about this. It seems like he loves to travel. He told me about this. That's so cool. Are you going to go out on a date with him? I would definitely go on a date with him. Now they're planting seeds for you. They're doing the work for you. So that's why it's so important, not even with just friends, but just with people in general, is to not always pay attention to her 100%. You want to pay attention to her, but not give her all of your time and invest that. Invest in other people, because then when she comes home and she talks to her girlfriends, if you don't invest in other people, they're just going to say, what guy? I don't remember this guy. No, show them your presence. And lastly, I want to allude to the last thing on what to say to her when you're going out on a date with her and you notice that you like her. And this is a really driver in attraction and also escalating and boosting sexual tension with you and her. And I talk a lot about this in my boot camps, and I do this for you guys in my special boot camps. I don't just say one word. We go over a lot, and we go over things like this. So let me give you something to say to a woman that you like. Is you look at her on the date and you just sit back and you say, you weren't the type of girl that I thought you were. And then she automatically thinks, well, what do you mean? What type? So now what's happening in her head by you saying you weren't the girl, the type of girl that I thought you were, means what's going on in her head is that she for a second has to think, oh, does he not like me? Does he like me? This is confusing. So now you're getting her to think about you in a different way, and think about and really enhance herself so she can show up better for you. And then she's going to ask you, what do you mean? And then you just don't give her an answer. You just say, no, nothing bad. And you just smile. And this helps you boost the attraction between you and her, and also escalates sexually. I have a specific video that I'm going to tailor. I wanted to tailor around this, and this is what it is how you kill attraction, basically, and what kills attraction. And I wanted to share this with you because of the fact that I've received an email coaching, and I'm not going to dive into the logistics and everything of the email coaching. But I'm going to break down this email coaching to you, and I'm going to show you how men typically kill attraction. And this happens so freaking much, and I'm so happy that I received an email outlining what happened, how the conversation went, to show you the number one thing that kills attraction. So the story is this man found a woman that he enjoyed, that he liked, and they were going on a couple dates, and they went on a couple dates, and she wasn't sure if she wanted a relationship. She openly told him she's not sure if she wants a relationship. All right, but kept on pursuing, kept on showing up, telling him that he liked her. Okay, this is the way women can sometimes be in the beginning, because she's not sure, things are probably going hot and heavy, or they're intense, and this is how typically a woman can test you. And when a woman tests you, it's about how you recover. And I made a video all about that, and I'll put that in the description in the card above. But in this particular case, the woman was just going with the flow, and she was enjoying the time spending with him. And she wanted to actually sleep with him. And because she wanted to sleep with him and he wanted something more, he waited and he said, no, I want to first get a chance to know you. And she actually appreciated that, which I talk a lot in my videos. So he followed a couple of things that I was telling him until one point, and that's what we're going to discuss today on how to kill attraction. So the girl was reciprocating. They saw each other at least once or twice a week with busy work schedules, and that's a lot. For a girl to see you once or twice a week, that means she's into you, men. And finally, after a couple of weeks went by, they finally decided to sleep together. So once they slept together, this is where things got rocky for him. She was cool. She was playing it, she was nothing out of the ordinary. They continued their dates. She wanted to see him again. She got busy. She got busy one week with work and told him that she would like to meet up. So here's the breakdown of it, is 2 days had gone by and he had not heard from her, okay? Remind you, I told you that she was busy with work, and he let his insecurities get the best of him. And I'm going to show you how men specifically let their insecurities get the best of them, and then they kill attraction early on in the stage before you get the relationship, and the woman just never wants to see you again. This is so critical, and I'm so happy I can do this video. So let's start. Text number one, he texts her after he hadn't heard in 2 days and says, best of luck for your meeting. I'm happy to meet you for a drink if you want after work. Great, they haven't talked in 2 days. That's fine. She's still reciprocating. No harm done here. This is great. He's being persistent, he's pursuing, and she's accepting. So let's start now with the text. So she texts him 2 days later after he didn't hear from her. She texts him and says, best of luck for your meeting today. I'm happy to meet for a drink if you want after work. But because the 2 days had gone by, he was feeling insecure. He felt insecure because he hasn't talked to her in 2 days, not scared. He has a lot of feelings for this woman, so he just probably wants to rush into a relationship and is starting to get focused more on the relationship. Like, is she wanting to be with me? And he replies, I don't know. Should I meet you? ? Depends on you, really and truly, if you desire me, if you desire to see me. This is just, I'm breaking this down. This is just a call and a cry for help, a cry for attention, which turns and kills off attraction. Right then and there, that will kill off attraction. In this case, this woman was actually being pretty nice because she is focused and she actually does like him. She says, I mean, it's up to you. I already told you I'm happy to meet you, but if you feel you need a break, then that's okay too. So she's basically confused here. She's like, why is this guy just being so heavy? Why is he saying, if you truly desire me? So you're not being assertive. This is not assertive. This is needy behavior. And this is what's going to kill attraction. Everything was going well. Just because she didn't reach out for 2 days made your insecurities and your lack shine through. This is why it's so important, men, that you get clear in your intentions of what you want, because even in the beginning, even in the middle, or even in the relationship, it doesn't matter. You can kill attraction with your own insecurities. And I talk about that so much. I actually made an audio seminar on how to overcome your insecurities, neediness, and attachments. I encourage you to purchase that seminar, and it's like 30 days spending with me, and it's a 1-hour session with me. The next text he says is, what about if I don't feel in need of a break? ? Another needy response. This is just screaming for attention and for validation, which she is going to be so taken back by and so turned off by. So she replies, that's also fine. I'm just trying to be nice, honestly. You can decide tomorrow evening if you prefer. She's still giving him another chance. And he says, I'm just messing around, but thank you for making clear the fact you don't actually want to see me and just try to be nice. Okay, there's nowhere in here that she said that she didn't want to see him. She's been persistently wanting to see him, and she's trying to make plans, but at the same time, he is pushing her away with his own insecurities. He's seeing only what he wants to see. He's believing his fears instead of focusing on the positive interactions, because I can guarantee you if he met up with her, they would have had a great time. She gave him a third opportunity. Wow, I haven't said I didn't want to see you. I think you were overreacting a little bit. Wow. This, I'm telling you, men, I'll be honest with you. If a man texts me this, I'd be like, bye, see you next Tuesday. Don't let the door hit you on the way. I will never talk to this guy again. This is a bunch of fucking bullshit. This is a bunch of insecurities. See what I mean, men? This woman did like him because of the fact that she continues to persist, and she's like, wow, she's taken back, and all he can do is focus on his insecurities. And here it goes. He says, it was pretty obvious and written between your lines. No, it wasn't. Look, I didn't mean it like that, but you don't want to argue about I don't want to argue about this because it's not like we are in a relationship. I like spending time with you, and I will be up for going for a drink tomorrow, but I also have lots to do with work, so don't really mind. Okay, basically now she's slowly putting you in the friend zone because of the fact of how you're showing your insecurities. And then he just replies, okay. And then afterwards, he tries to call her after a week. He just replies, okay, and nothing happens. And then he goes ghost for a week. And then he tries to call her and she doesn't pick up. So then he says, send her a text, hey, how are you? Tried calling you yesterday, wanted to take you out for dinner. She goes, hi, I'm good, thanks. Saw your phone call later, but wasn't sure if you called me by mistake. I'm not sure about the weekend, to be honest. It just seems that you are not on the same page. I think you're a nice guy and I have fun hanging out together, but it's probably best for us to end it here. Hope that's okay. All right, I'm gonna diagnose this text for you. So what's going on here is she says, I saw your phone call later, but wasn't sure if you called by mistake. First of all, you went from hot to cold. So she's like, okay, this guy is crazy and I'm not too sure if he's calling me for real. I'm not saying that you are, but I'm just saying this is how she's thinking. I'm not sure about the weekend, to be honest. It just seems that we are not on the same page. Okay, she went from not being sure about the weekend. She went from wanting to have a drink with you to not being sure about the weekend. So this is how she puts you in the friend zone. Here it goes. I think you are a nice guy. And I've had fun hanging out together, but it's probably best for us to end it here. I hope that's okay. Okay, so here it is she's blatantly putting you in the friend zone of, I think you are a nice guy. Because of the fact that you showed her a lack of instability and your insecurities, and this basically killed the attraction towards you and the sexual attraction towards you. So she doesn't have any curiosity to see you again. And at the end, she says, hope that's okay. And then he says, I appreciate your message. Seems to be a misunderstanding. Would be ideal to discuss in person. No. She doesn't text back, of course. So here's the reason why I break down these things is because when men start to fall, they get heavily involved emotionally and they can kill attraction. The same thing happens with women too. I'm not just saying, but as you know, I work with men. So that's why I'm talking to you men. And this is what's so important, what you don't do when you want to cultivate something into a relationship. You got to find the equal balance of who you are and and stop focusing on what's fearful, like you're not good enough or she's not ready for a relationship. If she's not ready and you feel as though you're not good enough, she wouldn't be dating you and she wouldn't be persisting on this and she wouldn't be continuing. When you give the opportunity to a woman to just, you sit back and you enjoy the show, you enjoy the road, you enjoy the ride, whatever it's called, then that gives her an opportunity to show up for you. But here you're putting so much pressure on this woman with your own insecurities that she didn't even see coming or know about until she saw these messages. So of course she's not going to reply. And then your end reply is saying, seems to be a misunderstanding, would be ideal to discuss in person. Huge red flag. She's not going to want to discuss anything in person. What makes you think that this will change her mind just by you saying a misunderstanding? Clearly there's no misunderstanding here. It's just the fact that you got overly emotional and you regret doing that. So now she sees the flaw in you. So, by the way, I dissect, this is a whole coaching email that I had, but I think it was so valuable for me to share with you men because this is something that I see all the time with my clients and with men in general that are doing this, and my girlfriends that are talking like, I did like this guy, but all of a sudden he just came out of left field and started acting all crazy. What women think is crazy is the neediness. And as I coached this man, I told him, like, the only thing that you can do when something like this happens and you kill attraction, here is what you can do to try to get this woman back. And this is the hard part, men, and I'm going to be honest. When a woman sees this part of you, she really gets over you quickly. Like it's hard to get this back. When this type of attraction is killed, it's hard to get this woman back. So what you have to do is go a month and a half, 2 months, whatever, without talking to her. Once you decide if you want to reach out to her again, is when you call your own self out. You just check in and say, hey, how are you? And then if the topic comes up, and start over again. But if the topic comes up, you call your own insecurities out. And this is the only way to kind of take the control back of what you did and then showcase a little bit of change and not do this and pace yourself. Let her start pursuing you a little bit. Don't overly go into it and call her every day and think that you can start off at square one again. It's going to take the process. You have to take the process and do it over again and take your time in order to try to build that connection and that attraction back. If their month or two goes by and she never reaches out to you again, after you reach out to her, then it's time to move on. And I'm going to give you 7 tricks, tools, tips, real advice in regards to making women desire you from a woman yourself, myself, I should say. Now let's get into it. Tip number 1 is I want you to understand that you cannot make everyone be with you. Okay, stick with me here for a moment because this is an important tool before I give you the rest. Now, what I want you to understand is just because you date someone or just because you've met a certain girl does not mean that this person is supposed to be the one for you, okay? Understand that if we take our pace and we take our time in understanding who people are, and not everything is meant to work out. Sometimes people are lessons as well. If we go into it with this mindset, we start to detach and we start to really be present in the moment with a woman and start to not attach to a specific outcome, which leads me into tip number 2. Tip number 2 is stop being fixated on the story that you've made up in your head and start being fixated on reality. What does this mean? Well, if you are not a first-time viewer, I'm sure you know what this means. But what it means, and I talk about a lot, is we start to date people in general sometimes, and we get so fixated on the idea of what it could be. We are feeding our mind with oxytocin because of the fact that we're thinking about the good. But the reality of the situation is something we haven't even figured out yet. So now we're fixated on the idea. So we start to become obsessed. We start to put the woman on the pedestal. We start to be inauthentic within our own selves. We start to be overbearing. We start to be needy. We start to be thinking so much about this woman and putting her on a pedestal because we've never had a woman like this before. But how do you not know that you've never had a woman like this before? So are you fixated on the reality, which is the healthy part, how she's showing up for you, pacing yourself, not knowing her too much yet? Or are we fixated on the actual idea of the story? Because a lot of us are trained in life right now to want instant gratification. And that instant gratification effect comes on to the made-up story. We make up a story in our head, so we get that instant gratification of something of an outcome that we want right now, right here, right. But when this is a made-up story, we got to focus on the reality. So tip number 3 in regards to this is so important, is you have to have purpose. You have to have some type of purpose in your life that drives you, that motivates you, that gives you awareness in your life, that gives you confidence and just lifts your spirits. Because if you don't have purpose in your life, you're going to try to attach to something else that will give you purpose. And tip number 4 is have standards for yourself. Women are attracted to a man that has standards for himself, that doesn't just sleep or date any woman that he can get his hands across. What he has is he voices with abundance, and I talk about in my 8 alpha mindsets that attract women, which I'll put up here in the cards. But in regards to abundance, when you come from a place of abundance because of the fact that you have standards, shows a woman that she has to also work for you. Nobody wants to work for nothing in life. We appreciate the more that we have to work for something, or the more that we have to be good for something, the more that we have to really develop attraction for someone or meet a specific goal for them. And the same goes vice versa for her too, should be for you. She should have standards within the men that she dates, and you should have standards within the woman that you date. And how you come across as this is by literally shifting your energy and having standards and looking at your whole approach and looking at women differently, so you have this. And this is what comes off in standards with women. And I've talked about how to set standards in a couple of my videos, and I'm going to give you one tip on regards to setting standards with women, is creating the idea in your mind of what it is that you want and how a woman can offer you something substantial in your life that you can offer her as well to possibly create something in the future. And tip number 5 is be self-aware of yourself. So a lot of times I think of a client that's coming to my head right now and making this video. And he had this woman that was very attracted to him, was his girlfriend, but they would always break up because of the fact that he had jealousy tendencies. He was very controlling. And when he drank, he just got out of control. And whenever I got on the phone with him, he was so reactive, so on fire, that the fact that he couldn't even listen to me in that moment because he was just focused on just getting her back. And in this moment, he wasn't even self-aware of himself. So being very self-aware of your emotions, of why you might be ruining something or where your weaknesses are in life, this is where you need to focus on, because this is how you're going to get a woman to desire you. That behavior does not get women to desire you. And also understanding as a man, what are your weak points? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, right? So in putting yourself and understanding those things so you can be very self-aware. Women are attracted, especially high quality women, they're attracted to a woman. They're attracted to a man that is very self-aware and in tune with his emotions and in control of his behaviors and control of his emotions, and doesn't let somebody else or something else affect him, his core. Tip number 6 is be honest and hold yourself with integrity. Now, a lot of times honesty can be looked as confrontation, right? And it makes us nervous. But when you don't agree with something, if you have opinion about something, be honest about that. There's this thing that I've talked about in another video before, and I was coaching a woman client before, and I asked her something. I asked her, what makes you so attracted to this guy than any other guy? And the first thing that she said, without a second of the doubt, she didn't even think about it, and she said, the fact that he has his own opinion and he doesn't always agree with me. That was the number one thing that popped up in her mind that differentiated him from every other guy out there. So being honest with yourself and the other individual is so important to creating that moment of making a woman want to desire you. And last but not least, hold yourself as a prize. And don't let anybody else affect you of this. Now, if you are a man that has worked on yourself, respects women, respects yourself, has standards, knows what he wants, and is waiting for that woman, then understand that you should never devalue yourself in order to fit in someone else's lens. Because of the fact that when we try to fit in someone else's lens, we get confused, we get shot down, we get less confident, we don't feel powerful anymore, and then we feel a sense of no control, because we don't have control. So understanding that the way that you view yourself is the way that other people will. Now, I'm not saying to be cocky and arrogant, but be confident. Cocky and arrogant doesn't come with compassion. confidence comes with compassion and a willingness to observe others, and to also a willingness to observe yourself. So holding yourself with integrity, holding yourself as a prize, and having that core foundation that I'm talking about in this video is exactly what makes women desire you.